Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the World Football Summit podcast. I'm your host, Jaime, CMO at World Football Summit. Today, I will be joined by World Football Summit co-founder Jan Alesi as we are having a once-in-a-lifetime conversation with Nobel Peace Prize winner Professor Muhammad Yunus. Professor Yunus is the founder of the microcredits and social business movement. Over the last 40 years, Professor Yunus has created a large network of entrepreneurs now present in more than 150 countries, and they help solve social issues and improving the lives of millions through social business. In 2018, he created the Yunus Sports Hub to help governing bodies, right holders, event organizers, federations, clubs, you name it, create long-lasting changes in people's lives. But most of all, he's looking to empower entrepreneurs all over the world. For his body of work, in 2020, during the Olympic Games, he received the Olympic laurel at the opening ceremony. And in this exclusive conversation with World Football Summit, we cover a lot of ground. From his origins and how he discovered the importance of football in the lives of many people, his involvement in the Paris Olympic Games, and his messages to athletes, clubs, and any individual who uses football to make a difference in society. Personally, we were honored to have this conversation with Professor Yunus. And the best thing is that he's a confirmed speaker for WFS Europe, so you can expect to hear more inspiring messages from him right there. If you haven't done so already, head over to our website, buy your ticket, so you can join us either in person or virtually. Finally, feel free to leave your feedback or your comments on social media about this conversation. You know where to reach us: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And now, let's welcome Professor Muhammad Yunus.
Okay, Professor Yunus. Well, again, it's an honor to be with you here online. To start, we'd like to maybe begin if you could tell us a little bit about your personal story, and what brought you to start the microcredits, and social business.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question, because I never thought I'll get involved with lending money. That was the remotest thing one can think about in my mind. I never thought I will be known as a banker, because I want to be an academician, I want to be a professor, I want to be in the university. That's the goal I always had in mind. And being a banker was totally remote from it. But the circumstances pushed me into a direction which took me to a completely different way than I ever thought I would do. This was the circumstances of extreme poverty in Bangladesh, when Bangladesh became an independent country, moving out of Pakistan. We were all celebrating because we are all supporting independent Bangladesh, and it finally happened. I resigned my job in the United States, where I was teaching in the university. I said, now it's time to come back to home and be part of this whole story that's going on in the independent country. So we had a lot of enthusiasm, but the story began of the country with extreme poverty and famine.
What year was that, Professor Yunus?
Famine is...
What year?
It was 1974.
1974.
Mm-hmm. So a terrible thing happening around the country. People dying, you see dead bodies on the street, dead bodies in the village. Only reason people die because there's not enough food to take in and survive. So that kind of made me think, made me worry what kind of subject that I'm teaching in the classroom, economics, which is supposed to solve all this problem. I had no idea how to handle this problem of poverty, problem of famine, and so on. So I thought I pursued a completely wrong subject, a subject which never gave me any ability to face the issues that I see every day. So I became totally disenchanted. I became frustrated. I wasted my time learning economics, which is a useless subject, which is no good for people. So I was thinking, what do I do now? Now that I wasted my time, how do I make a new beginning where I can be useful to people? That's the word that I had in mind, how to make myself useful to people. Today, I'm totally useless. Economics made me useless. I wanted to be useful. So one idea came, why don't I go to the village just outside the university campus and see if I can be of help to anybody, even for one day. I don't know how to do it, but gradually maybe I will learn about it by being with the people and seeing their problem. So that was the beginning of me going to the village and meeting people, seeing if I can do something to make myself useful even for a day, even for one person. So that led me to many things. I'll skip that. And I got stuck with the problem of loan sharking. People needed very small amount of money, $5, $10, and loan sharks will give the money in exchange, take up everything he or she possesses now. I said, that's terrible. And people get totally dislodged from the situation they are in. So I thought, how to protect people from the loan shark? Can I protect one person, two person from the loan shark? I didn't have any idea how to do it for many people. I was just thinking of few people. So one idea came to my mind, why don't I lend the money myself? Then I thought, if I lend the money, people don't have to go to loan shark. So they do not become a victim of loan shark, because I will not make them victim, I'll help them. So I told people that if you need money, don't go to loan shark, come to me, I'll give you the money. And that was the beginning. And I started giving this tiny loan out of my pocket because I had lots of money in my pocket. I'm coming from the United States with a lot of money. So it was no big deal for me. And I enjoyed it. And people were extremely happy, very, very happy that I could help them in this way. And it became very popular in the village. And that was the beginning to expand it. And then I thought, why don't they create a separate entity to do this in a more regular way? So I was thinking of creating a bank for the village, as a small bank for the village, doing the same thing. And that led me to create a bank and call it Grameen Bank or Village Bank. I had no idea that Village Bank will work outside this village to other villages and so on. But it became very popular, expanded, and became a nationwide bank. And then what we do became very attractive to many other people in many other countries. It became known as microcredit and lending money to poor people. And that's the beginning of the whole thing. And it became global. Everywhere you go, you see microcredit.
Yes.
That's how I got involved with that.
Indeed. And I guess the question, you were saying that people were actually very happy, obviously, because, they got the help they needed. But turning that around, Professor Yunus, what did you learn about people? What was innovative about this?
Two things. People at the policy-making level, they're stuck with their ideas. They cannot move from their ideas. When I challenged the banks, so why don't you lend the money the way I do it? They said, no, bank cannot lend money to poor people because they are not creditworthy. That's the explanation. They are not creditworthy. I said, that's very funny. You're blaming people for your failure. You don't lend money and say they are the problem. I said, no, you are seeing it completely the wrong way. You should see it the other way. People should be blaming you for not being people-worthy. You are not designed as a people-worthy organization. That's why you went in the wrong direction. So that idea keep coming back again and again. You should design something wrong way and blame the people for the failure. So I said that all thinking has gone the wrong way. And I kept saying that poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system we built, a wrong system that we built. So if you want to overcome poverty, you have to change the system. Today, when we overcome poverty, we run to the poor people to help them. I said, no, that's not it. They don't need any help. You need the help because you had a very wrong thing in your mind and created a wrong world. And they are the victims. And I gave the example of bonsai. I said, take the seed of a tall tree and put it in a flower pot, that seed, it will grow this big. And you say bonsai. It looks exactly like the big tree, but it's a small tree. I said, poor people are bonsai people. There is nothing wrong with their seed. Simply, they were never given space to grow as tall as everybody can grow. So you fix the system, there'll be nobody poor person. I said, poverty is an artificial thing. It's not natural thing for a human being. And that artificial condition has been created by artificial thinking. You become a natural person, and the natural way of doing things, human beings are packed with all the ingredients, all the capacities to not only to take care of themselves, take care of the rest of the world. That's what the human beings are all about. So this is the kind of conflict I had with the real world versus the world that I was trying to see in my own way.
Mm-hmm. So Professor Yunus, you really had to change an archaic system that existed in Bangladesh and certainly in so many other countries.
It's not Bangladesh, it's a whole financial system everywhere.
Exactly. So you were considered a rebel, a troublemaker. What were the challenges that you faced to actually make your project a reality?
Is disbelief. People say, well, it can happen for few people. You can lend money, they can pay you back, but ultimately they will never pay you back because they're not creditworthy. They will not know how to use the money. And my explanation is, as long as it works, I'll continue. If it gets into trouble, then I'll stop and see what is the trouble. Mm-hmm. Until I see the trouble, just because you're saying that there's trouble up the road, I will not stop. I'll continue to see the trouble and see how to handle that. And I never faced that trouble. So we continued and continued. I said, your wrong thinking led you to imaginary problems. And my real thing is going on. So I was not a rebel in that sense. I was just raising a question. I was not kind of condemning them for everything they have done. I said, this is just a way of looking at things. You are looking at things in the wrong way. If you look at the right thing, the right way, and all the solutions will come to you. So this is how I said it. And I was not kind of upsetting everybody because I give them as an option. I was not saying that you abandon everything and your thing is to be abandoned. I said, no, you can create parallel banking system for the people who are not covered by your old system. So you create a microcredit system. And that's so this is not something to throw away what you're doing. I'm simply saying what you're not doing. So you can do it if you follow this path and so on. So that way, there is frustration, there are opposition, but not a confrontation of the side that there's a lot of anger. There's no anger between us. They were understanding. They say, you misunderstand the whole thing. I said, you misunderstand the whole thing. So we keep on debating the subject. And on my behalf, there's only concrete examples. I show them the concrete examples. On their behalf, they have only imaginary things that will happen. So I said, I can't go for the imaginary thing. I do the things, it works. And if you see something wrong, tell me what is wrong here. What is most important that they cannot walk away from that. I challenge the very foundation of the banking system. Banking system is based on collateral. You have to have money before you get money. You have to have wealth before you get additional wealth. You cannot start from zero. I said, no, you can start from zero. And that's it. So I took the whole idea of collateral out of the banking system. It's like overcoming gravity. As long as you have the gravity, you cannot leave the soil. You cannot leave the earth. The day you overcome gravity, you fly. And the sky is the limit, and space is the limit now because you overcome gravity. So by dismissing the collateral, I overcome the gravity. Now I can go anywhere I want. The banking system couldn't believe that it can work without collateral. So that's the foundation of that. They thought, well, you do it for few people and it may work because you work so hard. That's how it works. When I said, no, I'm not working with few people. I'm working millions of people. And I have no personal contact with those millions of people. This is a structure. This is a business. It has the same thing that you have. Branches, offices, everything that you have. But our ideas are different. We removed those whole collateral idea and so on. It works. Not only it works in Bangladesh, it works all over the world. That's how we go and created this, help them create this microcredit and say, it's not a Bangladeshi phenomenon. In the beginning, Bangladesh is a funny country. They can do all kinds of funny things. Now they cannot say that. It's everywhere. So that way, finally, it got accepted that yes, it can be done, but it's not banking. I said, what is banking then? So these are the kind of debate and discussions continued. So I was not something rebellious in the sense that dismissing, destroying them. I was offering them an option. You can do this and make it happen. And many accepted that and tried to get involved with offering microcredit and so on. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Professor Yunus, when Jan and I were preparing for the interview, we were wondering about your ties to sport, no? Because when we think about football, there's a lot of people, when they think about football, they think about entertainment, they think about business, and some occasions ego, no? So to some extent, it's kind of contrary to the movement of the microcredits, no? So we were wondering, how'd you get started or being involved in sport, and what is the power that you see behind sport? So especially during massive events like a World Cup, like an Olympics, like the Women's Euro Cup that's taking place now, no? So
exactly, that's the way it happened. It happened with the World Cup. I'm not a sports person. I'm not a fan of a particular club or anything. I just watch like everybody else without being committed to a particular club and so on. Enjoy it. But what struck me year after year, whenever the World Cup comes, the whole Bangladesh changes completely. Right away, World Cup is coming. I had no idea there are so many football fans in the country, everywhere. So one indication that you'll see as soon as the World Cup is coming, every house in Bangladesh will be flying a flag of its favorite club. Mm-hmm. And when you have multiple flags in your building, in your top, you'll have many flags on your roof. If you go to villages have one flag here, another flag there, and each one is different. Some villages are totally dedicated to one club.
Yeah.
So they have fight between the two clubs, one village to other village. Emotions. What has struck me is the emotions. When your team is defeated, you hear on the radio, you hear and see it on television. If your team is defeated, the whole village is dead. No talk. They're crying. Their tears are running down. They don't even know what this club is, who these guys are, what is this country about? Where is Brazil? Where is Mexico? Or where is a country like Germany or something, France? They have no idea. But this is their club. The emotional tie. And they know every single person in the club, all the players by name, what happened, they will tell the whole story of this particular players. But it's completely different life. So I said, why is that? Why this emotional tie? That they have to fly flags and they have to have celebrations. The last World Cup, one of the record was made in Bangladesh. They made the longest flag of any nation ever made. 3 kilometers long flag of Brazil, because we are the fans of Brazil. So they get flag extended for 3 kilometers. So where did the money come from? This is not a rich country. The people just contribute a little bit here, a little bit, made that flag. So this emotion, I said, amazing thing. When you can tie all these people with such an emotion, what is the objective of this emotion? They have some kind of commercial purpose. Maybe you're selling something by showing your hero, football hero, saying that this is a good product, and you buy it because your hero says it's a good product. That's a commercial thing. I said, what happened to this power for social purpose? That's the point I raised. Can this power be used for social purposes? If the hero says, let's create a 3-0 world, suddenly say, what is 3-0? Of course I have to do it because my hero says I have to do the 3-0. That's a social purpose. Only thing you did, your hero said 3-0 world. Yeah. That's it. 3-0 club. How do you make a 3-0 club? I have a football club. I don't know what is a 3-0 club. I want to know. I want to be with them because this is my hero. I said, why aren't we using that power for social purposes? If you use this global power of sports, not just football. There are so many of them. Cricket, for example, American football, many other games that we play around the world. Each one has the same power. I said, why don't we use this power to make social changes? Mm-hmm. And it would be so easy to do it because it is integrated with every single person. And he or she is willing to provide whatever commitment he has to provide for changing the world. So this is the program I raised, and I started speaking about it, that the sports has endless power, but it is not used for social purpose. It can be used for social purpose. I gave examples how that can be done in a social purpose and so on. Then I was invited to address the Olympic Committee when the Rio Olympic was being held. So I was invited to Rio, and I was made a torchbearer for the Olympics. So I was very happy that finally I got some role in the sports. I was never had any role in sports. I had a now torchbearer, and I was asked to address the whole Olympic Committee, International Olympic Committee. I explained everything I thought about, and people loved it. And I was invited to support the French team to help them to create what I call a social business Olympic. And they loved that idea. So we worked for that and explained that to the International Olympic Committee. Finally, Paris got the recognition as the venue for 2024 Olympic, and it will be a social business Olympic. And I explain what is a social business Olympic is all about. So this is how gradually I get more reaction, more attention, and finally I got an award myself, Olympic Laureate in Tokyo Olympic 2022 now, 2022. Yeah. So that is a big recognition for me. It's something I never imagined that I'll have any sports recognition, but I got that. I was very happy.
And could you tell us a little bit about that that social business program that you're doing with the Olympics?
Yeah, it's a very simple thing. It's not a complicated thing. The question I raised, how much money you spend for each Olympic? The answer I got that normally for each Olympic, the budget is 7 billion euro. I said, that's a big money. So how do you spend it? Well, we use building constructions, road constructions, stadium constructions, swimming pool constructions, and catering services, and these services. All those lined up for $7 billion for this expenditure. I said, that's fine, you do that. But when you make this Olympic village, which I saw in Rio, there's beautiful buildings made where Olympic players stay, sportsmen stay there, but only for the Olympic time. It's a 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, they will stay there. And then it will be empty. And what do you do with all these facilities that we build? Oh, we auction it off. Commercial people buy this and make money from them out of that and so on. I said, that's where we'll make a little change. This time we'll have the Olympic village, not exactly for the Olympic athletes to stay for 3 weeks. It will be really village for the homeless people, right in the middle of Paris, in Saint-Denis. So this will be for homeless people who cannot afford housing, very difficult to pay rent and so on. This will be designed exactly for that purpose and beautifully designed so that they feel comfortable and so on. And when the Olympic starts, they will stay here. They will be temporarily make all the arrangements so that they have no problem. They enjoy their stay in these places and they will see beautiful place and they will stay. They have no complaint about that. And they will go, and this whole village will be handed over to the homeless people for their stay. And they'll have their marketplace, they will have their schools, they will have their sports grounds, just like a village. So you spend the money anyway, but one, you had no purpose except for 3 weeks. Here, there's a permanent. You have to transform the place where your Olympic is held so that people remember, because Olympic came, this area became completely new area because people now have a decent life to play. Their children go to school, they have healthcare and everything. I said, that's the way. Saint-Denis will be a tourist attraction for the whole world. It used to be a slum. All the poor people are living there. Now this is the most beautiful part of the country. And people will be coming there and wondering how it is done. They will be inspired that why don't they do it in their own country? And they can do that. This is just one, the construction part. Another is catering. I said catering could be done different way. Now you contract it out to the big contractors, renowned, world famous catering services and so on. That's fine. I said this time in the social business, you design your catering service differently. You ask the social businesses to come forward who would like to provide catering services. And they say, we don't have much experience. You will train them, provide the training and so on. And you will hire the big companies to train them so that ultimately they are the social business companies will be the one to do the catering services. You need anything, you first offer it to the social businesses, and they will find their partners to make things happen, quality-wise and everything approved. And everything will be done in a social business procurement system. So this is what is being done in Paris Olympic 2024. And catering service is a wonderful idea to make that happen. And today, you can go and touch them and see what is happening. And ultimately, what I spoke to the Olympic organizer, saying that always you remember, you ask yourself, out of this 7 billion euro that you'll be spending, not a single euro should go without a social purpose. Mm-hmm. Every time you use 1 euro, ask yourself, what is the social purpose of this euro that I'm spending? And then you'll find the answer, then you spend the money. Until you find the answer, don't spend the money. That's it. So that's the way it is. It is not earth-shattering idea, very simple idea, but to begin with, you face new problems. Of course, whenever you do something new, you face new problems, but you have fun solving those problems. You look at it with pleasure, with pride that we did it. In the beginning, it looked hard, but when we did it, all the creative young people came, all the creative people from all around the businesses came, businesses who we thought that they are the enemies of people. Now they become friends of people. They came up with ideas to help you to do things because everybody wants to see things happening in their own country, in their own people, and so on. So this is what the Social Business Olympic is all about.
And how does this social business differentiate from charity? With so many different organizations also using the power of football for development, but how is it different?
I should explain that. Conventional business is always focused on making money. That's why our textbooks are told maximization of profit is the goal of the business. So everybody is busy maximization of profit. Charity is something where you give away your money. You're not looking for profit or anything. Simply, you want to help some poor people, some unhealthy people to get the help, some sick people to overcome their sickness. So you don't want the money to come back. You just spend the money so that other people get the service, or they get the food, and so on. So what we did, we tried to create something in between, out of the necessity, because we don't have endless money to give as a charity. We thought, can we get the money back? Make it very cheap so that people can afford it, and we get the money and you cover the cost. If you can cover the cost, you again got overcome the gravity. This is another gravity, that you cannot create a business unless you can get the money back. In charity, you forget it. You don't want the money back. In conventional business, you not only want the money back, you want super profit on it. Like in vaccine, they wanted to make super profit. They made lots of billions of dollars by selling vaccines where people died. So they couldn't care less whether people die or live. They made money. So I said, this is in between. Here I invest. I create a company. I solve the problem, say vaccine. I create the vaccine and I charge the cost of the vaccine. Just cover the cost. And people can afford it. They can buy it. And I get the money back. So I continue to produce more and more. I had no intention of making personal money out of it, personal profit out of it. So there are three categories now. One is maximization of profit. Another is no profit at all. And the money is handed over. It doesn't come back. In between, the cost that I incurred comes back so that I can re-roll the money and continue to function. So I started saying, charity money has only one life. You can use it only once. It goes out, does a fantastic job, but the money doesn't come back. Mm-hmm. I said, then you have the social business money. Social business money goes out, does a fantastic job, but comes back. Then you use the money again. And your money again, because every time it comes back. I said, this is the power of the social business. Charity money has one life. Social business money has endless life. It never stops. And then it continued to serve the people because you brought down all the cost and everything to help the people and so on. So that's what the social business is. So when you spend 7 billion euro in a Olympic project, that 7 billion euro, wherever you have used the social business mechanism, this money will come back. So this money will never disappear. If you had a charity grant, You build houses and so on, take care of everything. Many of those buildings crumble. If you look at the history of Olympic, all the infrastructure built, they're not in good shape because nobody to take care, because you get busy with the next Olympic, building things. You're not worrying about the old Olympic. So I said, no, we want to retain the quality of the buildings that we made because it's for a purpose. It has to serve the purpose, and money has to come back so that we can regenerate the money and take care of this. So that is the difference between social business and charity. Mm-hmm. One life, endless life. These are the two things.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned already the Olympics, and now I guess we want to take the opportunity to go back to football. No, obviously when a lot of people talk about football, they think about the star players, the mega projects, the superstars, no, the super business that's around the football industry. But at World Football Summit here, we're of the belief that actually football is actually built by, let's call them anonymous heroes, no? So you mentioned people that, were living with passion in terms of football. They had flags and, people even have schools or, whatever. So on one hand, we believe there's actually people that even if they dream to reach the superstardom, but even if they don't, they still live that football with passion and they still carry on the flag of the sport, let's say. And there's also, as we mentioned, a lot of football, a lot of charities and social businesses that work around sport to create social good, no? And for us, those are the kind of people that are actually closer to the real world at the end of the day, So we wanted to understand what would be your message to those star players that actually have the visibility, but also have the power to, let's say, influence those anonymous heroes.
First of all, I'll congratulate them. It's a fantastic achievement that you get at the top. Millions of people around the world will be listening to you, will be giving enormous efforts to get your signature, autograph, and so on. Anything that you touch becomes so valuable for them because you're such a superstar. So that's the status you have. This is guaranteed. This is done. But I would encourage you to remember, you came all the way to the top, but there are many at the bottom. So one comes to the top, but hundreds of thousands remain at the bottom. They're as good efforts they are making, their lifelong ambition, they work very hard, they sacrifice everything to make it, but they couldn't make it all the way top. You made it. So there are many, many people behind you who will never make it. Some are extremely frustrated. They never got across the village level. Some just village level to the town level, some to the district level. So there are different levels. But as you come higher and higher, it becomes smaller and smaller. But they are there. And the sports life is only for 35 years, 37 years, 38 years. That's about it, under 40. And after that, it's over, no matter how brilliant you are. So these people who are at the bottom, they gave their life. They have not learned anything to support themselves. Mm-hmm. Only thing they had is a dream of a successful role that you can play in your game. So think about that, how your success can bring some benefit to them, not just charity money you give. You can create things in an institutional way, in such a way that you can help them. Like you can create a social business venture capital fund, a fund where you're not giving away money, but you'll encourage all these young people to get as they becomes trying their sports life career, and also prepare themselves to become entrepreneur. When their sports life is over, they will start some businesses and so on. Simultaneously, they will be prepared. And you say, I have the money in my fund. I'll give you the money, and you do the job, and you return the money. So the money, the fund money always remains intact. And I feel happy that my money is being used, but still my money. I can, anytime I take the money back, it's no problem. But until I take the money back, this is available to you so that you can transform yourself into that. That's the beauty of social business. I have not given it away for completely, but I'm making it available to you to use it. If I want to say, I like it so much, I would leave it alone so that you can do that. You can do that too, and you enjoy that. I keep saying that making money is a happiness. Making other people happy is a super happiness. Mm-hmm. So your money is making other people super happy. So And you become super happy by seeing other people super happy. So this is the way you do that. So this is one role you can play. And now that you're a superstar, what you say is very important. You can inspire people. You can inspire the whole world, depending on what level of superstardom you got. You say, we don't want global warming. This is what we do. We don't use fossil fuel. And everybody says, I don't want fossil fuel because my star says I don't want fossil fuel. It didn't cost you any money at all. Simply say, we have to be careful with the fossil fuel. I don't use fossil fuel. I used to use fossil fuel 7 days a week. Now I do 6 days a week. 1 day for my hero, I skip. 5 days is fine. Somebody says, no, I'll do 1 day a week for the week. 6 days, I will not do that in honor of my hero. I contributed a lot. And my sacrifice is no big sacrifice. I use train, I use electric vehicles and so on. I don't use fossil fuel. Or I eat meat every day of the week. I said, now I will eat meat only 6 days a week. 1 day, I will not do it because my hero says I have to contribute in making global warming disappear. So this is it. Your word can bring out so many ideas in people's mind to make things and global things, big things, which our leaders cannot achieve, but you can achieve because your voice is so powerful. So use this power. You know you have the power. I invite you, I request you to feel that power, that you have the power, and ask yourself what use you are going to make this power for. Because if you don't choose what you use the power for, it will be all wasted away. You'll be selling watches, you'll be selling glasses, you'll be selling something which doesn't make much difference in life. But that power is something whole global situation can change. If you as a superstar, another person is a superstar, 3 or 4 of them is a superstar, imagine what power you got. And all you have to do is say things, not to spend money or anything, and say that this is what I do. And say, and you say, I don't use fossil fuel at all. I have no problem. And I say, if my hero doesn't use fossil fuel, who am I to use the fossil fuel? Those kind of things. So you design it, and people can help you to kind of design your words and so on, so that it has a maximum impact on people, particularly young people. Young people are the one who will be designing the next world. So you have tremendous impact on young people's life. So that's what I'll appeal to them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, I always say, that football, that sports is probably the greatest generator of content in the world. And precisely because of that, for people who work, these stars, the clubs, they have a huge responsibility, because they have a huge voice. But Professor Yunus, and what would be your message to instead those hundreds of thousands, of people who have this passion for football, for sports, that don't have a voice, or have not made it to the elite?
Yes, I always come back to them because that's where my attention is. I said, don't give up. Just because you couldn't make it doesn't mean that you are a worthless person. You're a very creative person. You're a very strong person. You have the tenacity, you have the commitment, and that's why you survived in this world, in a very tough world. You did that. And now you have to add other things into your life. This is not the end of the life. This is one phase of your life. Now you prepare for the next phase of your life. Next phase of your life, you have single-minded pursuit. You have some commitment. You pursue the commitments. Use that commitment to turn yourself as a social business entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur because we will be arranging the social business fund so that you can get the money and invest it. But you design it. What kind of business, social business you want to do, which will help people overcome things, poverty, water, sanitation, healthcare, or whatever. You choose it. And then design something, social business. And since you are in sports, you already know, you already have your own followers. It might not be in hundreds of thousands or millions, but you have some followers who love you, appreciate you. They love to see your picture, they love to see you play. So have your followers to follow those kind of things that you want to encourage them, inspire them, and make it happen. But first become an entrepreneur yourself. And particularly, you make yourself a social business entrepreneur so that it is not for making money for yourself. it is for transforming the world that you have around us. And that's what we can do. And you have a voice in your community, and use this voice to make sure you lead a completely different kind of group of young people who will be following you, who are still trying to be sports people. They want to follow your steps. And you say, these are the steps. And this is after all the steps at the 40th year, it's not a cliff you jump. No, it's still a smooth ride on a social ride. This is a sports ride, and you move into the social ride and continue and have impact for the whole world. And this is what inspiration should be. Don't get frustrated, because many young people, after a failure in their sports career, become frustrated, become drug addicts, become mental problems because they couldn't do that. And his friend has done that. I couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. So they become mental problems. So you don't have to. This is one way of success. That there is another way of success. You have contributed so much more than your superhero has already done. You're no less than the superhero. What he has done, you have the equal ability to impact in people's lives. So I'll encourage them as they go around, and we'll train them how to make themselves into a social business entrepreneur. And that's what Yuan does, get the young people to be familiar with the ideas, thinking new, that yes, I can be an entrepreneur because, well, I'm a sportsman, I'm a football player. I don't know how to run a business. Of course you know how to run a business. You simply didn't spend a few minutes to talk about it, that's all. Otherwise, all human beings are entrepreneurs. It's simply some people pursue it, some people don't pursue it. We are encouraging you to pursue it. See, you can be a very successful entrepreneur. It could be way above everybody else and the entrepreneur, but you have to have the mind into it. So we help through Yuan with the Yunus Sports Hub to bring those ideas, to get the facilities to make that happen, so that you can connect the finance with you, so that finance should not be a problem for you.
When you think about it, it's simply amazing the power that we as humans, we have to influence the people around us.
Absolutely.
Sometimes to kind of believe that we have that power, no?
We have the power.
So, but when you look into the business side, you, as a business, you also, and you have that influence, that power as well. And we wanted to understand also, given your experience with the Olympic Committee that you mentioned before, is there any message that you want to share with, the mega businesses that are working in football?
Yeah, sure. Football, any sport, there are many, many business commercial organizations around them. Any sport, there's a huge commercial, and they do a good job supporting the sports people to get the good quality football, good quality services, and so on, good quality equipments. So it's very important for their health, for their life, and so on, and therefore the success. I simply said, yes, you have a commercial business, do that, but you can parallelly have a social business initiative. You can create a social business venture capital fund, so that all those failures, quote unquote, failures in sports, don't have to give up. You said, don't give up. You have another route. You become an entrepreneur. You sell our product. That will be your starting point. We have already business laid out, so you can be our representative. You can set up our branch, and you can sell it, and we are in business. You know everything about our products. You do that, and you do it as a social business. And we'll help you to build up a social business and doing that, so that sports people get the right kind of service and so on and so forth. Or you can do it as a money-making business, no problem. But you become an entrepreneur. First thing is you become an entrepreneur. That's number one. You don't get frustrated. You don't get upset that you never made a success, but you become successful as a business person. And you do that, continue and expand. So the big businesses can provide that kind of thing. They can provide funding. They can create social business funds, so that these exercises can be provided, training can be provided, and finance can be provided, equity can be provided. So, and they can become joint venture businesses with the sports people and my company. I have a football company. I produce football, but I'm also a joint venture partner with every single footballer who wants to play something and create a business. I invest in their business as a social business opportunity. So I'm okay. I'm promoting my product at the same time. I'm in a social business, but I'm helping him or her to become a social business partner with me. So there are so many varieties of it. And then for big companies and for big events, not only big companies, there are competition, there are federations, there are many things, competitions come up, big events in the city, big events in the country, competitions and so on. In every competition, you have the procurement, which I was mentioning about the Paris procurement. You bring the procurement issue. Procurement, all procurement can be social business procurement. You do whatever you do, but bring it from the social business. This is the number one rule. In our company, in our business, in our competition, we always do the procurement from the social business. So that will give the incentive to the social business to come, because there's a business coming up, and you'll help them to do that. And you'll finance to do that. And you have a permanent relationship with them. So a new kind of business grows, and with your own people who were rejected from or thrown away from the competitions and so on, never made it further down. So they are now picked up again in the procurement side. So the procurement can be a very important social business arena where young people, sports people can get absorbed and contribute to the society. So they are not only football star, they are contributor to the society. They are changing the society, which created a lot of problems around us with the global warming, with the unemployment, with the healthcare, with the water. And today, the big problem of food, because of the Ukrainian war, the food is short, everything is becoming expensive, healthcare becoming a terrific issue right now. So a lot of things, they can play a role along with the sports. This has not to be separate. The sports is one thing, Ukraine is something else. No, it's our life. Our life absorbs everything. And the exciting thing is when people in this family, you get the newspaper in the day, young people come rushing away, pick up the part which is only sports. They forget about everything else. Ukraine and everything stays away. So I pick up the thing, what happened to my game yesterday? How did he score that goal? He shouldn't have done that. And so I want to read it very carefully and so on. So I said it's a full life. Life is not just one page out of the newspaper. So I play a role on all pages of the newspaper, not just one page of the newspaper. That's how we should get involved with and make sure that we are a full human being, not just a partial human being cut off in slices to do this and do that. So we want to become somebody who's useful to the world and make a contribution and come back and say, this is what I did in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what about all those social businesses, that I was personally, when we started World Football Summit back in 2016 was our first edition. Our event is focused very much on the business of football, but soon saw that there were so many people, NGOs, businesses, who use the power of football to do a positive change in society, on purpose, on development. So what would be your message to all those people who are using football, sports to do good?
Yeah, sure. And to begin with the whole idea, football is good. I love football. I want to devote my life to football. But the football plus, it's not just football, the round thing. The football is a symbol of my life. I want to create life around the football. But I'm not denying the rest of my life. I want to play a role in every single way. I want to be helpful to other people. I want to be helpful to my neighbors. I want to be helpful to the hungry person, the homeless person on the street, the guy who has no health care, the guy who never could find the food or in a crisis period, lost everything. I want to play that. I'm not just hanging on to my football. I don't understand anything about the football. That role I want to get rid of. I'm a human being. Football I love. I create my life around football, but I have a life, a full life. I want to enjoy the full life, not just a concentration of one little thing. That's the kind of direction we want to go. So whenever we have a football celebration, we always bring other issues into it and how to get involved, how we do that, so that people don't say, football is the only thing we talk. Like I said in the newspaper, just take the page out of the football, out of the newspaper, the football page. No, I see the whole football, whole life. I want a part of this life. I don't want to segment myself into one little corner. That's it. I'm a full human being. The most powerful element in the whole world, that what I have inside of me can redesign the entire world. That power I have. But I don't want to just say I can do on the football. I'm a good analyst of the football. I can explain everything that happened to the last game, and I do a brilliant analysis of that. That's true, you do that. But that doesn't mean that you don't analyze the other things. You have the capacity to analyze things. You analyze how society became the way it did, what went wrong, why are the people the way they are, how depriving them all the things they should have enjoyed in their life, but they couldn't because of the stupid things that we did in our system. So we want to remove those barriers so that they can all come out and be full human being. I want to be a full human being. I want to make sure everyone that I see around me and I see around the world become a full human being. Whatever way you define a full human being, that's what I want them to have, a full human being, not deprived. Because life as a human being is a very short life, only a few years, and it's over. And I don't want to miss a second of that few years.
Nice. Well, Professor Yunus, this has been an amazing conversation for both me personally and I'm sure the football community. We just have so I want to thank you for that, for all the messages that you've shared.
Thank you.
We just have two final questions. On one hand, we want to understand, Professor Yunus, what's the legacy that you wish to leave behind?
Well, let me put it this way. What I felt, and I want to share it, I said that nothing is impossible for human being. Nothing. I must believe in that. Nothing is impossible for human being. Only thing you have to do is to decide what we want to do. Once we decide, it will get done. But most often, we are not deciding. We're not even paying attention to it. And as a result, we don't achieve it because we never thought about it. So this is one that believe that nothing is impossible for a human being. I'm a human being, and nothing is impossible for me too. So I should not be threatened by enormity of the problem. Problem can be enormous, but it has a component. It always can be broken down into little pieces. And all you have to do is address those little pieces. And then you have the whole thing done. And that's how everything starts in life. Starts with a little bit of stuff, little bit of a small step. And that little step that you take you to the million miles journey. And then you say, I've done it because I've come million miles because I took that first step. If I didn't take that first step, I would never made it. So that's what my message would be, that nothing is impossible for human being. Let's take the first step and make it happen.
Perfect.
Nice.
Well, yeah, Professor Yunus, yeah, it's been really an honor to speak with you and to hear your message and your words. As you know, well, you'll be participating probably online at our event, which takes place in Sevilla on the 28th.
I know, I'll love to come physically, but depends on the situation, yeah.
Exactly, no, but, and it will be an honor for everybody involved to be able to listen to you. We're gonna have about more than 2,000 on-site attendees, plus more than 1,000 online. We bring together, the key stakeholders of the football industry during 2 days for them to share, the challenges, the opportunities that we face as an industry. So what would your message be to them? And what do you think an event like ours brings to the table, no? And plus with a strong participation of your organization, the Yunus Sports Hub.
The message is a very simple one. I said your commitment to sports, whatever sports you have chosen and focused on, your commitment is something which can be covering much broader arena than you focus on, because that will be the symbol of your commitment, but you can spread it around to cover all aspects of life, human life. So see how that can overflow into many directions that you have. And it's very easy. It's not something that you have to learn all over again. Something. No, it's not learning. It's about dreaming. It's about imagining. If you imagine, it will all come together. So sports, the football is the one goal, but around it, you have imagined a bigger world. Imagine that. And like, for example, imagine a world of 3 zeros. What kind of world would like to have? Excuse me. So that way, sports can be a symbol for a bigger world. So imagining is the most important thing. Imagine what is around it and be part of it. If we imagine, it will happen. If we don't imagine, it will not happen.
Fantastic. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect ending. Thank you so much, Professor Yunus.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Good to see you.
And there you have him, Nobel Peace Prize winner, Professor Muhammad Yunus. I hope you leave this conversation as inspired as we did and motivated to use football as a powerful lever to change the world. Once again, feel free to reach out on social media and let us know your feedback. Nothing else from my side. We look forward to seeing you in the upcoming WFS Europe and, of course, on the next episode of the World Football Summit podcast. Until next time, and have a great rest of your day.